Hey everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we have the RockyMounts MonoRail 2-bike platform rack. We'll take a look at how this fits our 2023 Toyota Highlander. So for this bike rack, it is really popular because of this versatility where you get the premium features like tilt away and the 60-pound per bike weight capacity at a slightly more affordable price than the other premium bike racks. It's still a solid bike rack though, and I recommend it almost every single time. With the Highlander, there are some things to consider. Like the Highlander's hitch does sit a little bit higher up, so you are having to lift your bikes a bit more to get them onto the rack. Another feature of the monorail is the tilt away. So there's this bright blue lever underneath the rack. You'll pull the lever and drop the rack down to a tilt if you want to access your hatch while your bikes are on. So notice how much clearance we have between the door, our pedals, and our handlebars. Plenty of space there. I can now hang out in the hatch, grab some waters, my helmet, switch out our shoes, all without having to take the bike off. This makes it a lot faster and more convenient. I can get out onto the road that much quicker. To lift it up, I recommend holding onto the frame of the rack as much as possible so you're not putting any pressure on the bikes as it's loaded up there. How are the bikes loaded up? We do have two touch points. The first is going to be your front wheel hook. This is nice because then you don't have anything touching the frame of your bike, and you can carry your carbon fiber frames, your step-through frames, all of those without a frame adapter bar. Now the rear wheel strap is holding down the back. We're going to start here by pressing that lever and lifting the strap up. This, then I like to fold off to the side so it doesn't get caught up in the spokes. Then I come over to the front. I hold onto the bike with one hand, press this button with the other hand to disengage our front wheel, and then push this out of the way. And now I am ready to go for a bike ride. Notice the shape of our bike rack. With the bike on, I'm going to put it off to the side. You can see how the rear cradle has that different shape, so you can tilt it back and forth for different wheelbases. And then you have your front cradle that has the grooves for those different tire widths. Notice the grooves on the inside. Whether you have your thin road bike tires or your wide fat bike tires, this can carry them all. Now you do have those arms that ratchet down against your wheel, and I like to put these straps back in so it doesn't flop around as I drive around. And finally, for the front cradle, we're going to fold it down to be more compact and neat. So speaking of it being compact, let's talk about clearances and measurements. So this is going to add some length to the back of your vehicle. Measuring from our bumper to our front wheel hook, I have it at 33.5 inches. That's a measurement to remember when you're backing into your garage or trying to park into a tight spot. You do have a larger car, so you do know that space is at a premium if you have a small garage. Another measurement is ground clearance. So see here how it's 2 feet off the ground, or 24 inches. Compare that to the shank, and that is only about 14 inches off the ground. So that's going to be a lot more height that you're going to have to lift your bikes up and onto the rack. I wish this had a ramp that you could use with this rack for those heavier electric bikes of up to 60 pounds. Taking some measurements again, now that we have it folded up, bumper to end of the rack is going to be 16 inches. So big difference compared to when it was folded down. You'll want it in this position when you're just driving around town and you don't need to take your bikes out just yet. But with our Highlander here, and with it folded up, some things to look at is, yes, our rear window is completely visible, our taillights are visible as well, but what about our license plate and our backup camera? Well, from this angle, you can see that most of the license plate is seen, and our backup camera sits up above the bike rack. So what's going to happen is when you go into reverse, you are going to see the rack in your camera, but you'll also be able to see if there's any cars or people behind you. Well, this fits into our 2-inch hitch receiver. We do have an anti-rattle bolt that's holding it into place, and you do get some locks for both the bolts as well as your cable lock that goes around your bikes. They are accessed with just one key. and you get a spare set. Comparing this with some other racks, I did mention how I wish this had a ramp. So an alternative would be something like the Swagman Skaha, where you can get a ramp and a bridge. It has a similar look, not as sturdy, I would like to say. That one has the Skaha has a little bit more movement in it, and the ramp and bridge are add-ons so that you have to purchase separately. But if you like the front wheel design and you just want to maintain that weight capacity, it is an alternative worth looking at. But other than that, for versatility, for durability, for strength, this is a great option for you. This was a look at the RockyMounts MonoRail 2-bike platform rack, and you saw it on the 2023 Toyota Highlander.